Six giant dinosaur eggs are set on the table, and that is where everything officially begins. Each egg is placed inside a glowing incubator, where ancient life is already waiting to wake up. Inside the incubator, all six eggs begin to tremble as the first cracks spread across their shells. The green egg bursts open, and Sparky jumps out with the sharp eyes of a born hunter. Bubbles pushes through the blue shell, soaking wet but already wriggling with restless energy. Pebble rolls out of the brown egg and lands with a heavy little thump that is somehow adorable. Leafy gently peeks out of the turquoise shell, as if politely greeting the entire world. Ember does not wait around, headbutting the red egg so hard it explodes on the spot. Tiny slowly emerges from the shell and unfolds those tiny wings for the very first time. Sparky is lifted in thick gloves and immediately play bites one finger like a tiny menace. A miniature forest is built from scratch, perfect for an energetic little velociraptor to explore. Sparky tears through the tiny ferns so fast that your eyes can barely keep up. A rocky little pool is prepared next, ready for the first true swimmer of the group. Bubbles glides underwater with pure joy, like this place was made especially for him. Heavy stones and wet mud are stacked into a sturdy habitat designed for Pebble. Pebble rolls through the mud with the simple happiness of a baby tank made of bone. A lush green garden comes together, full of plants and berries just for Leafy. Leafy calmly nibbles its first leaf like nothing in the world could ever be dangerous. A tiny grassy plain is prepared for Ember, complete with logs to practice those headbutts. Ember keeps smashing the little log again and again, determined to prove it is not weak. Many cliffs are carefully assembled, giving Tiny a place to start learning the sky. Tiny hops from a rock and glides down like a living paper airplane. The first piece of meat is offered, and Sparky snatches it in a lightning-fast bite. A small fish hits the water, and Bubbles catches it instantly on the first strike. Pebble gets tough roots to chew on and crushes them with a surprisingly powerful little jaw. Leafy receives a strawberry and takes a gentle bite like dessert has finally arrived. Ember yanks a fern out of the tongs with far more attitude than its size suggests. Tiny swoops down and grabs a piece of fish midair, wings already learning the job. All six baby dinos swarm around the narrator's hands and turn the living room floor into chaos. The first field trip begins when the crate opens in the forest, and all six babies rush out. Sparky stalks a large beetle across the forest floor, then pounces with real predator instinct. Bubbles splashes through the shallow creek, thrilled by the feel of running water all around. Pebble finds the perfect mud patch and rolls into it, like it just won the lottery. Under a low bush, Leafy peacefully munches leaves like the whole forest belongs to it. Ember charges fallen branches and knocks them everywhere, just because it feels good to do it. Teeny tries flying again and ends with another soft crash into the grass. The group moves deeper into the darker forest, where the atmosphere starts feeling very wrong. At the mouth of a black cave, all six babies stare into a darkness with no visible end. One loose rock kicked by Ember is enough to wake something sleeping deep inside. Wild Carnotaurus explodes out of the shadows with a roar that freezes the entire forest. Sparky and Ember bravely attack the giant legs, but their counterattack barely matters. One tail swipe sends all six babies flying and reveals the brutal gap in power. The gloved hands rush in, scoop up the injured babies, and run from the deadly hunt. Back home, wounds are wrapped in silence, while fear lingers in every pair of eyes. But that defeat is not the end, because the real training begins right now. Sparky tears through a cardboard maze with the speed and agility of a growing killer. Bubbles swims against an artificial current, turning every stroke into more strength. Pebble strains its whole body to push a heavy brick across the grass, without stopping. Leafy trains its booming call, slowly turning that crest into a real sound weapon. Ember charges forward and shatters a wooden board like it finally found something worthy to hit. Tiny leaps from a high branch, and this time glides perfectly all the way down. Standing together, all 6 bodies begin glowing at once as evolution finally arrives. When the light fades, 6 stronger, taller, deadlier forms are standing in their place. The empty backyard starts transforming in time-lapse as fences and giant rocks rise into place. A pond is dug, trees are planted, and a real dinosaur sanctuary begins to take shape. Inside the finished sanctuary, the 6 dinos live peacefully, playing and resting like a family. Then, the night storm arrives, with pounding rain and lightning driving the group together. In the middle of the storm, shadowy night dinosaurs leap the fence and attack. Even fighting together, the team is overwhelmed, and Raptor Prime gets pinned to the ground. In the chaos, Tiny is grabbed by 2 attackers and carried into the stormy sky. At sunrise, the 5 remaining dinos look upward and realize Tiny is gone. Without hesitation, all 5 head into the wild with one goal: bring their friend back. The tracks split in different directions, and the team separates for dangerous solo journeys. In a foggy swamp, Spino Hunter wades slowly through dark water thick with menace. Right behind it, huge ripples form on the surface, like something massive is closing in. A water monster erupts from below and snaps its giant jaws in a perfect ambush. Spino Hunter barely avoids the bite and dives backward into the water to survive. Under the murky surface, the fight becomes a frenzy of bites, claws, and clouds of bubbles. But Spino Hunter is still thrown out of the swamp and smashed hard into a dead tree. Cornered at last, it closes its eyes as violent blue light bursts across its body. The light expands, the body grows huge, and Titan Spinosaurus is finally born. Titan Spinosaurus rises and unleashes a roar so deep it shakes the entire swamp. With one crushing bite and throw, it launches the water monster away like a toy. High in the dark jungle canopy, Raptor Prime races across thick branches like a green ghost. But all around it, camouflaged shapes move through the leaves without making a sound. A jungle assassin strikes from the shadows and kicks Raptor Prime out of the canopy. The fight explodes on the jungle floor with frantic dodges, slashes, and spinning counters. Then Raptor Prime is pinned against a boulder right before the final killing blow. At that exact moment, its eyes flash green and its whole body erupts in light. The aura explodes, and Alpha Raptor appears with blade-like claws built for war. Alpha Raptor accelerates so fast that it becomes nothing but a green blur around its enemy. It stops behind the assassin and ends the fight with one cold, precise strike. On a windy mountain pass, Battle Triceratops climbs upward like a living fortress. A heavily armored predator steps out and turns the path into an arena with no escape. Battle Triceratops lowers its head and charges straight into the head-on collision. The 2 giants crash together, lock horns, and throw sparks from the brutal impact. But the heavier predator slowly forces Battle Triceratops backward toward the cliff edge. Refusing to lose, its whole body ignites with a blazing red magma-like glow. From that red light, Titan Triceratops rises, enormous and armed with spear-like horns. Its new strength lets it flip the armored predator completely over with one monstrous heave. Across the sticky mud flats, Iron Ankylosaur drags its heavy club through the sludge. Then, the mud around it begins bubbling violently, like the ground itself is waking up. By the pond, Titan Spinosaurus rests its massive head on smooth stone in total peace. Out on the mud flats, Fortress Ankylosaurus sleeps so deeply that each breath lifts tiny dust clouds. In the garden, Royal Parasaurolophus sleeps, standing while its crest glows with a slow, faint pulse. Across the plains, Titan Triceratops rests on its belly like a living hill lost in sleep. On the highest cliff, Storm Pteranodon hangs asleep with its wings wrapped tightly around itself. The narrator steps into the sanctuary center, and all 6 titans immediately gather around in excitement. A gloved hand reaches up to pet Alpha Raptor's snout, and the giant predator answers with a deep purr. Titan Triceratops closes its eyes in contentment as the narrator pats one enormous horn. Storm Pteranodon lands gently beside the narrator and folds its wings like a loyal companion. A giant family meal begins, and all 6 titans eat together in complete peace. The sun begins to set, washing the entire sanctuary in warm golden light. As night settles in, Alpha Raptor curls beneath the oak tree and falls asleep like an oversized dog. Titan Spinosaurus rests its heavy head on the shore and closes its eyes to the gentle water sounds. Fortress Ankylosaurus keeps sleeping in the mud flats, breathing in slow, deep rhythms like the earth itself. Royal Parasaurolophus remains asleep in the garden, its glowing crest pulsing softly in the dark. Titan Triceratops sleeps out on the plains, enormous and still like a dreaming mountain. Storm Pteranodon hangs beneath the rocky overhang with its wings wrapped close in the cool night wind. At the sanctuary gates, the gloved hands pull the lever, and the giant steel doors slowly close. In the monitor room, 6 screens confirm that all 6 Titans are sleeping peacefully through the night. The narrator switches off the main light, closes the door, and leaves the sanctuary in silence. High above it all, the starry night sky stretches over the sanctuary like a protective roof.